Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel today. Very windy, gray weather. I feel more like a weatherman because every time I lead my videos on, I'm telling everybody the weather here in Switzerland. Anyway, it's not very pretty today. Very windy, blowing rain. After Christmas, but where are you going? This day's the 28th, of December 2021. Anyway, listen, I wanted to talk to you about a subject that it keeps hitting me. It keeps coming to me. I keep seeing these questions. I'm a member of several groups on Facebook of people who really want to get out and go camping and learn bushcraft and this kind of stuff. And they keep asking, and I saw this also in a journal I was reading and an article, and people are asking questions like, what is the most important thing, most important tool to obtain, or the most important piece of equipment or product to obtain to start bushcraft? And of course, people shouting out knives, they're shouting out, the perfect rucksack, the backpack, they're talking about clothing, they're talking about shelter. I think all of those things are wrong. Those are not the most important things, actually. Before you start anything, I suggest you at least learn something about it. And knowledge is what's key in survival, the outdoors, bushcraft, anything you do. Knowledge is what's key. And I think gaining knowledge, seeking knowledge is the most important tool that you can obtain in bushcraft, okay? The more you have in your head, the less you have to carry on your back. This is a very important thing to understand and to know, okay? And I am no expert when it comes to all this knowledge. I'm still learning also. And if there's somebody out there who is an expert, wow, they are, gosh, that means they know everything, okay? Something that I learned quickly in the military, and that is to master your square meter, or master what's inside your shoes first before you go on to try to master every other things, and that is gain knowledge of yourself, what your abilities are, but gain knowledge of the skill you want to learn, and gain knowledge of the area you're living in, okay? I practice most of my bushcraft right here, very local, Matter of fact, within 2 kilometers of me, I do a lot of my practicing. Now, I do go out and do it other places, and there's so many other things to learn, but I practice mostly right here. Do I know it all? No, I don't. But it's important that the first thing that you do is gain that knowledge before you make that next step, before you purchase that knife, before you purchase that backpack, before you, even before you really get out into the woods and start doing anything crazy. Get some knowledge behind you. And there are several ways to do this. I'm going to tell you what I think is the best way to do it. And the best way I think of doing it is finding a good course and attending a good course, okay? I was lucky. I grew up with this knowledge all around me, getting it from uncles and grandfather and father and friends, and just living out in nature. But after that, it comes to a point where you want to advance on that, okay? And one way to advance on that is to study it, take a course, read a book. Now, I have lots of books here. I have a book on, first aid, okay? First aid is one of the most important things you need to learn. Matter of fact, in the Boy Scouts of America, before a boy can achieve, I think it's first class, or second class scout, or tenderfoot maybe, I'm not sure exactly what rank it is, he has to obtain the first aid merit badge. And if you look at any of the merit badges within the Boy Scouting movement, and you can learn a lot. If you can get your hands on any of them, any year, okay, especially the older ones, you can really learn a lot of skills on them, and the Boy Scout Handbook. Now, I have lots of Boy Scout handbooks, lots of books, different ages. This is one I just pulled off my shelf. This is a field book, actually. And inside this right here, it has lots of knowledge about outdoors, camping, everything you can imagine on the outdoors. It's in this book right here. A lot of good information. These are the old ones, and you can get them for very cheap, under $10. These books right here. This right here, I don't know how much I paid for it. I think I bought a bunch of books all at one time, and this is one of them that I purchased, actually. But first aid is one of those things that's very knowledgeable. Take a first aid course. Get up on first aid. Learn the ABCs, this kind of stuff. Then get your little book and read through it if you want to keep yourself up on it. Once a year, take a course. I took a course 2 years ago. I've taken lots of first aid courses. As a matter of fact, at one time I had EMT certification, but and I went back and I wanted to just see if is there anything that I need to get caught back up on that I haven't done, because here in Switzerland, you can't do a lot of I can't do the EMT stuff that I learned in the field here. I can't do it because you're not allowed to legally penetrate the skin, okay? And that means you're not allowed to give it medication or use a needle on somebody or whatever, okay? So you got to be careful of that, okay? You can, if you have a wound, you can give first aid to that wound, and there are lots of ways of doing that. Depends on the wound. But what I did is I took a class. I took a class just to get caught back up and see what it is. And believe it or not, it was a refreshing class. It was nice to realize that I hadn't forgotten anything. I did learn something really good, really interesting in the class, and something I hadn't practiced before, and that was with a major wound to the neck area over here, and how you can treat that without completely killing the person by putting a tourniquet around them or a pressure dressing on their neck. And but anyway, I'm not going to get into that. That's something you need to go out and find out about, and that's a course all by itself. Okay, but yeah, learn first aid. Then get out there and learn other skills. Here's a book right here, Bill Rivera. Okay, it's called Backcountry Camping. Okay, really interesting book. Now, there are some pictures in here. There are lots of pictures in here. Of course, you'll see more pictures in your Boy Scout handbooks. And this is a critique I found out about with Dave Canterbury's book on bushcraft, is that there's just not enough pictures in it. And one thing about us who are into the outdoors, we're much more visual, and we need more visual learning, actually. We're better at doing and learning as we do, so take a bushcraft course. A series of books that I found when I was growing up in the library in school were the Foxfire books series. Now, there are a lot of these books. This is number, I've read a couple of them when I was in school, and I bought a bunch of them online. If you get them online, they're about $17 online, and there's a company called Anchor Books. This basically is a college course that went into, I would say more, a type of archaeology. And what they've done is they've gone back through this, there was the Foxfire magazines, and what they did is they're publishing these books right here, which is based on people and their crafts and the history and the learning and the teaching and the know-how from these Tennessee, Kentucky hill people, actually, and how to make baskets, how to build a bed, how to build a house, how to kill and clean an animal. All these things right here, and they're in these books now. These are great to read. All this knowledge is great to read. It's all great to have these books, the basic wilderness survival skills. Mostly words, very few pictures in here, okay? That's an error I see. I mean, they put great pictures on the outside, but that's about all the pictures you're going to get in the whole book right here. That's one thing I like about the Boy Scout Handbook. And the Boy Scout Handbooks have many more pictures than they do lots of words, that kind of stuff. I'm going to just correct myself. Daniel, this is Kephart. Kephart wrote this fantastic book, okay? Camping and Woodcraft. Loads of knowledge in here. Very few pictures, okay? Very few pictures, okay? How are you going to learn how to tie knots? So, but that's why it's important to take a class. Find somebody who has this knowledge, even if it's, you don't have to take a class in 1 week. I mean, I did the Ray Mears course in a week. I think it was 10 days. We did that course, or 7 or 10 days like that. It was long, but it was great. But it was, every second of that course was chalked up with learning skills and that kind of stuff, Here we have Nesma, okay, woodcraft and camping, okay. Now, if you hear the term woodcraft, this is a North American term, instead of using bushcraft, they're using woodcraft, okay. Very thin book. He probably has the same amount of pictures in this little book right here that you have in the Kephart book. And these guys are the grandfathers of bushcraft in North America, or woodcraft. Here's a book that I picked up right here. I mean, I've picked up loads of books, a lot more pictures in it. This right here is called it's John and Jerry McPherson, Primitive Wilderness Living and Survival Skills, okay? I'm going to tell you what I got out of this. A whole lot of people writing books in California, acting like they live in these permanent skills, and their buckskins are never dirty. I went and spent 2 days out in the field with a brand new pair of gloves. They came back dirtier than you can imagine. So I mean, it's look at all that, and a couple more. Okay, here's of course here's the book of camp lore and woodcraft right here. A lot more pictures in it right here. Now this right here actually is by Daniel Beard. Okay, very good book also. And what's interesting, he did a lot of stuff with the Boy Scouts also. So I mean, he's got this huge connection with the Boy Scouts. So you'll see some of the stuff also in the Boy Scout Handbooks. And of course, the one a lot of people know, the SAS Survival Handbook, and this is by Lofty Weismann, who, by the way, good book. Lots of pictures, lots of information in here. You can tell I've read it because I've actually highlighted the hell out of it. I mean, I've gone through it, and I just saw some highlights here. Yeah, I highlighted it a whole lot, as I read through it. And these are great books. But, if you want a good book to start off with, get you a Boy Scout Handbook, okay? Get yourself the Boy Scout Fieldcraft book. You don't have to get the new one. I say get the older ones. They seem to be much more, they have many more drawings in it and less pictures, I would say photographs. But yeah, these are things you can do. You need to take a course, take classes. You can take, I give half-day classes sometimes, quite often, A lot of people start off with a half-day class. They want to learn just how to build a fire. They want to get their feet wet, Before you go out and start spending all this money doing a lot of crazy stuff, take a class first. Maybe get some books and read up on the subject before you go out and start making these huge purchases. Because I see this all the time on places like Facebook Marketplace or other places. People, they buy a backpack, and you can tell when it's the end of hiking season, the backpacks all go on sale. They're selling them all off, for half the price. You can get some really good deals even, or even hiking boots, brand new hiking boots, worn once. They went on one camp out. They're selling a pair of $300 hiking boots for $50 because they decided that they don't want to invest in that anymore or be a part of that. So my suggestion to you is to take a course, gain that knowledge before you make that next step. It's the best way forward, okay? You can't expect to go out and do heavy math if you've never taken a class on how to do math, or same with driving. You got to get out there and take a class and before you basically get out on the road and start, by yourself, But get out there and start, like I said, take a class first. Find someone, and there are a lot of great classes out there. I mean, I'm over here in Europe and in England. In England, you'll see most of the serious courses that are online. Up there, these guys get degrees and everything. I mean, you got plant life, all the different kind of plants and mushrooms. These are important things. And what's really interesting is that when I teach bushcraft, when I teach these things, I find out that there's a difference in knowledge between the men and women. So what you'll see is a guy come in and he has more camp crafts, where the lady will come in and she knows a lot more about mushrooms and plants and stuff, And so it's funny how that interest there. But what that also tells you is, is to pair up, bushcrafting and life outdoors is much better if you're in a pair, at least, you get a much better experience out of it with two people than you would with one. Sure, it could be your best friend, it could be a buddy, a couple of guys go out there. But, if you have a wife, get her involved. You have your kids, get them involved. Something I'm thinking about in the near future is teaching, just concentrate on teaching women, and the reason why is that because you don't have this macho thing come in where a lot of guys come in and they have this pre-exposed ideas about what they expect off a course, this kind of stuff. Now, most people I've dealt with are very humble, and I'm someone who's also a very humble person. I don't know it all. I would love to know it all, but I just don't have the time to sit down and do all that. I would love to. I would love to go out and take a class on just plant life and mushrooms, this kind of stuff. It's just not easy. First of all, finding that kind of stuff, and then here where I'm living is pretty expensive to do that too. But it's something I would definitely want to do and to learn more about. But the Audubon Society in America has a lot of great books on animal life and plants and fish and this kind of stuff. And so these are subjects that you need to learn more about. It's not just about how to go out and cut some trees down and make a tripod to build you a fire, or how to build a fire. It's also about, when you're out there, it's, people like to use this term survival, learning how to survive. Survival is something that you do at the extreme, okay? The idea is to be able to go out there in bushcraft and to thrive. Go out there and to be able to live comfortably with a basic amount of kit, basic amount of stuff, but a maximum amount of knowledge, okay? So that you can make the most of what you know out in nature, okay? Imagine this, you go out, someone throws you out in nature and they provide for you for the first year, food, but they don't provide for you for the second year, okay? So are you prepared not for the first year, but are you prepared for the second year, okay? And that's a good question. Can you, after that first year, can you thrive comfortably on your own that second year, okay? Imagine our forefathers when they expanded, when they crossed the oceans into North America and South America. And of course, you had indigenous people there who were living and thriving, and life was great. They knew what plants they could eat. They knew what animals, how they could kill and eat, and where they were found and stuff, where those Europeans did not know that, okay? And so they had to learn, okay? And some of them had enough humility to go out and seek help, and some of them wanted to fight, okay? And you can understand is that some of the indigenous people didn't want them in their backyard either, so, and on their lands. But anyway, seek knowledge. That's the key term here. Seek knowledge, learn all you can, and like I said, take a course in bushcraft or in woodcraft or whatever you want to call it. Take a course. Now, I'm going to tell you something. If you go out taking a survival course, I don't suggest that. Survival courses. I suggest you go out and take courses about thriving in the outback, thriving in nature. Okay, that's what you're looking for. Bushcraft actually is the crafts that you learn, the techniques, the skills that you learn to live in the bush, to live in nature. Okay, not survival, because you could bring stuff to get you. How long you need to survive? That's the question here. So sometimes it may be just a split second, pull that parachute. Sometimes it may be, are you ready for that second year? Anyway, listen, I want to thank you guys for coming to my channel. I appreciate if you give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, pass it out to all your friends, let them all know about me, and leave a comment down below. I look forward to hearing from you. Listen, I want to thank you, and I hope you all have a happy holidays, and New Year's Eve's coming up in a couple of days, and I hope you enjoy yourselves then too with your family and friends. Take care of yourselves. Talk to you soon. Goodbye.